Facebook is trying to censor me again. They slapped a fact check label on one of my videos, claiming that what I said in the video was, quote, partially false. The problem is Facebook is wrong. The fact checker is totally wrong, and I am right. Let me show you. This is the video Facebook flagged. It's called Bombshell Report. 90% of positive COVID-19 tests should be negative. Take a look. According to a bombshell new report, up to 90% of positive COVID-19 tests in multiple states in our country should have been negative. And before Facebook censors this video, or Snopes or PolitiFact tries to slap a fact-check label on it, this report came from the New York Times. That's right, the New York Times. According to the Times, and I quote, "Standard tests are diagnosing huge numbers of people who may be carrying relatively insignificant amounts of the virus and are not likely to be contagious," end quote. Why? The answer is amplification cycles. Let me explain, because it's actually quite simple. A PCR test, which is the most common type of COVID-19 test, the kind you're familiar with, identifies the virus's genetic material in a swab sample and then amplifies it over and over again until a machine can detect the DNA of the virus. If the machine detects the virus's DNA, then the test pops positive. Well, if you amplify the genetic material of the swab sample enough times, you will detect the virus DNA even if the viral load in the person's body is clinically insignificant, meaning even if that person only has traces of the virus in their body, even if they're not symptomatic themselves, even if they're very unlikely to be contagious and transmit the virus to other people. So the New York Times examined COVID-19 testing data from New York, Massachusetts, and Nevada, and found, and I quote, up to 90% of people testing positive carried barely any virus, end quote. This is because the PCR tests for COVID-19 in the United States are using anywhere between 35 and 40 amplification cycles to identify the genetic material of the virus. And many experts agree that anything higher than 30 amplification cycles will result in inactive, dead, or clinically insignificant amounts of the virus being detected, therefore causing the test to show up as positive. But after we posted that video on Facebook, some so-called fact checker called Lead Stories slapped a false label on my video. And if you click the link to their fact check, this is what the article says, and I quote, "Fact check. Concern over testing does not mean every stat about COVID-19 is bogus." The article continues, "Many who test positive may be carrying insignificant amounts of the virus, but this doesn't mean that testing is useless, and it certainly doesn't mean that all statistics related to the disease can't be believed," end quote. But wait a second. I didn't say that. I never said anything of the sort. Watch my original video word for word. Read the transcript. I never said that. What I said is this study from the New York Times that shows that up to 90% of positive COVID-19 PCR tests should be negative matters because public policy in our country is based on COVID-19 case numbers, not deaths, not hospitalizations, not ICU capacity, not ventilators, not even the infection fatality rate. I said public policy for COVID-19 is based on case numbers, which means public policy is based on these positive tests, the majority of which, according to the New York Times, should be negative. In other words, Facebook is trying to penalize me for something I did not say. I never said every stat about COVID-19 is bogus. Never. And yet, Facebook is lying about what I said. Why? It seems they want to discredit me. Why else would they punish my page? Why would they accuse me of saying something I never said? They know my videos get more than 1 million views every single day. Does it scare them to know people are hearing the truth?